We did it! We did it! Good Morning Miss Bliss is finished, and we can move on to the actual Saved by the Bell episodes. But first, I thought we'd take a look back at some of the highlights and lowlights of this season and see what worked and what carries over to the new series. One of the things I remember loving about watching Saved by the Bell was the colorful background cast. Nerds, jocks, pretty people, Molly the Troll. Bayside always seemed like a pretty happening place. I was disappointed when watching Good Morning Miss Bliss because all I found were extras who were so lifeless that they couldn't even fake eat. Another staple in Saved by the Bell was the colorful teachers. Mr. Tuttle, Miss Simpson, Mr. Testaverde, and Mr. Dewey were just a few of the amazing teacher characters at Bayside. I'd like to think Mr. Morton from Good Morning Miss Bliss was the blueprint for these epic teachers. But of course I do. I friggin' love Mr. Morton.
Class, meet your specimens.
Please, I'd rather not. Oh my gosh, they're alive.
Only temporarily, my dear.
I mean...
A word to the wise. White is not a good color to wear tomorrow.
I could watch Mr. Morton all day.
Mr. Morton, nice.
This is the crucial time. Cup of noodles.
If you followed along with each episode, you likely noticed a running tally of secretaries. Early episodes juggled the old white secretary and the young black secretary. Around episode 8, however, it seems like the show was just like, F it, we're just gonna go with Tracy. In the end, I counted Old White 5 times, Young Black 2 times, and Young White 6 times. We all know which one Belding liked.
I'm a happily married man.
We know. We already released a mind-blowing rap about it. As to a secretary in Saved by the Bell, she's very seldom seen. But it looks like Mrs. Belding forces her husband to return to an older model. Another thing you likely noticed were the number of boom mics that were spotted. Boom! 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 Boom!
Sonic boom!
This is an affliction that carries over into Saved by the Bell. You want to know what doesn't make it to Saved by the Bell? Tina. Shoot, she doesn't even make it past the 11th episode of Good Morning Miss Bliss. I hardly noticed that she was missing from the Rigmas and Dusty Old Man episodes. I also didn't mind. Milo is another character that does not make it over to Saved by the Bell, which is too bad because his character was goofy and charismatic and worked really well. I realize now that I haven't covered TK Carter, as I typically do backgrounds when an actor's character has an impactful arc in an episode, like Tina in the Let's Get Together episode. But Milo never had one, and he got looked over. So let's remedy that. Legend has it that TK, which stands for Thomas Kent, began doing stand-up at age 12. He transitioned to the screen in 1976 and had an impressive resume prior to landing Good Morning Miss Bliss. 17 movies! Including The Thing with Kurt Russell. He also had recurring parts in Just Our Luck, Punky Brewster, and Gem. With all this experience, why was TK relegated to kooky janitor?
Milo, what are you doing?
Just watching the drinking fountain.
Who knows? He continued to act after Good Morning Miss Bliss, including roles in The Sinbad Show and The Steve Harvey Show, and countless other movies, including Domino with the lovely Keira Knightley. He also hosted an episode of Soul Train. What role of his is most memorable for me? Space Jam, where he voiced, not that guy, but that guy.
The pipes, they have ears. But I'm gonna find out about this eventually. The pipes have ears. Potatoes have eyes, you know.
We get your point, Milo. I promise we're gonna get them out of there.
Yeah, well, I hope so. They keep staring at me.
Hello, Milo, for the last time. Hey, remember when Miss Bliss had problems with doors? Yep, doors will be one of my fondest memories of Good Morning Miss Bliss. Just turn the handle! Now, one thing that should be obvious is that Zack's character doesn't change a bit from Good Morning Miss Bliss to Saved by the Bell. I mean, he schemes from episode 1 of Good Morning Miss Bliss.
Listen, I met this great girl at camp and hung out with her all summer. She's 15 and in the 9th grade.
Why would she go out with an 8th grader like you? Did she lose a bet?
No, I told her I was in the 9th grade too.
He's likable, except when he should be getting punched in the face by everyone. And at times he's even allowed to show some depth. Now, Lisa's character also stays relatively the same. She's got a smaller part in Good Morning Miss Bliss, and it's expanded in Saved by the Bell, but it's, consistent. The same can be said for the insecure dolt, Mr. Belding. Screech, however, is a different story. In Good Morning Miss Bliss, he's fairly tolerable. He's aloof, and he has some bad dialogue at times, but he's a decent little actor. This transfers to the early seasons of Saved by the Bell, but it isn't long before he turns into the insufferable ham he is unjustly known for. Along with Tina and Milo, Mikey and Nikki don't make it over to Saved by the Bell. I've covered Max Badamo in episode 3, but I never profiled Heather Hopper. Probably because her big episode got commandeered by this beefcake. Heather started in theater before moving to LA to be an on-screen actor. After some commercials and an appearance on HBO with Roseanne, Heather had a string of success to go along with Good Morning Miss Bliss. She had spots in Punky Brewster and Married with Children, which you can see here she's on a date with Giovanni Ribisi! I don't know why I like him so much. She was also in Beverly Hills 90210 and the movie Troop Beverly Hills. But as fast as her star was rising, it suddenly fell. I won't go into it in detail, but Heather had to quit and get treatment for an eating disorder. There's a one-woman show she posted to YouTube that showcases her story and personality. I'll leave a link for it in the description below. Heather has kept a low profile, though she did have a few roles in the early 2000s, including a part in Elvira's Haunted Hills. Hey, just like the guy who played Mr. Morton! Well, that's kind of interesting. If you mention Mr. Morton enough times, a rap song will start. Hey! Nobody even after this. Nobody. Good morning, Miss Bliss. I've got a letter here from Brian. He's that doctor you were dating who's now home alone all crying. He doesn't like the fact you started macking on Zack's dad, but your stupid date with Sherman does make Brian kinda glad. Good morning, Miss Bliss. I've got a letter here for Tina. She went missing in the last 2 episodes and no one's seen her. I think it's safe to say that no one really cares she's gone. I don't think I even needed to put her into this song. Good morning, Miss Bliss. I'd like a word with the producers, cause tonight, that's right, there's gonna be a fight with all those losers. Karen, Shayna, Jennifer, why couldn't you try harder when you know that all those roles should have been played by Sarah Carter? What about the role of Stevie? Do you think they got that wrong? You better shut your filthy mouth. She's perfect. We're just gonna sit here and look at her until the next verse. Hey yo, dividers have up and call her Colleen Morton. Now we all have to think that she's a daughter or a son. But look at the sky and see that it's all working. Would have hated the show without a Mr. Morton. Here's what I love about a Mr. Morton. Brewing company dolls, couple of sly retorting. The other results that they were zero. But could have taken a page out of the book of Morton. Good morning, Miss Bliss. I had some notes on how you teach, but I kinda got distracted by the kid they nicknamed Screech. There's an origin of love that Lisa does not care to factor, and it becomes crystal clear that Screech was quite a gifted actor. Good morning, Miss Bliss. Could you point me to production? Because I'd like to request a poster-use reduction. We've also got a problem with some boom mics in some scenes and some talent mug the camera like Jim Halpert, it seems. Good morning, Miss Bliss. I just saw some older dudes who have infiltrated campus and got Zack acting all rude. They both have on red jackets, spew a credo. That ain't clever. It goes, bring us together forever, Trevor! Good morning, Miss Bliss. Another old dude has been sighted. You let him stick around and now your classroom has been blighted. He cried rise inside your house about a system that's gone wrong. But nobody really cares because that scene went on too long.
Good morning, Miss Bliss. Another old guy has been seen. It's like Hemingway's classic called The Old Man Who Played Deke. You know that this is lost on a wasted skid like Deke because everybody knows by now that loser cannot read. I'm sorry. It's over. That wasn't right. Season is over. How long did it take to sell those potatoes, Miss Bliss?
I never want to have to watch this again. Almost none of it is worth the screen time. Mr. Morton, Stevie, story over.